Welcome to another episode of Reseller Evolution. I'm Scott.
And I'm Carl.
How's it going, Carl?
Good.
Good.
Episode number 45.
45.
I just like saying the number at the beginning, just to...
What's that?
I always like saying the number at the beginning just to keep some consistency.
Well, it helps me when I do the editing part of it. Because then I got the right one. There was one time I went through all the editing and I pulled in something that was wrong, and I'm like listening to it, just give it a quick listen to it at the beginning, make sure it's all good, and it was the wrong episode. It was like, I'm like, man,
he always doubled our episodes.
Yeah.
That's how much attention you're paying if you're gonna but you don't even realize it's a different episode.
Well, I edited the right one, and then you render it as a rough copy.
Yeah,
and then I got to render it with the video, and then so that's rough copy 2, and then I got to bring it back in, and then I put the music and everything in front and back of it.
Yeah.
So that's where I screwed it up. I pulled in the wrong one. But I was able to listen to it and figure it out quickly that, oh shit, this is the wrong one. But
I vaguely remember making videos.
Yeah. It's pretty easy. There is a little bit of a time consuming factor involved for sure. But this here, I just put it in the background and let it ride. And then when I hear something kind of like, okay, that needs to be cut or pulled together a little bit, whatever reason. Not that we go on too long, so that's never a reason to cut anything out. But, other than that, it's actually pretty easy. There's no video to kind of match up and all that kind of stuff, right?
No.
Just audio. All right, buddy. So what's going on, Carl? How's the week? How's the booth? How's the good old flea market going?
It's like every episode I had to come in here and like expose my shame.
No way, not more shame.
I didn't even make booth rent. It was so sad.
Really?
But I had fun. I dressed up in my Star Trek uniform.
Well, that's why. Everybody was scared.
Actually, I got so many comments because it's like it's a red shirt. Yeah, I'm sure you did. It's a red shirt. Like I'm a captain, like the Star Trek New Generation, and everyone's like, at least 5 people said, "Oh, your red shirt. You know what happens to the red shirts, right?" Which is ongoing joke if they're the first to die, because in the old episodes they were always the first to die.
Oh, really?
But I got a lot of positive comments. The guy, the other booth guy across from me, is like, "Oh man, he has his Star Trek uniform." He said, "I would have worn it if I thought of it. Then we could have had like a team going on." And other people said, "Hey, I have a uniform at home. I just didn't think of wearing it." So I was like, "There's more of us out there than you realize."
Oh, so, I know there is. I don't.
Yeah.
No,
so that was fun.
Well, I just want to kind of tap on that response. That's actually a pretty good idea. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's getting close to Halloween, and that's why you did it. But you know what? To make it fun and enjoyable for people to come through, and you know what I mean? That's actually a neat idea. So I don't know, maybe not necessary to dress up all the time, but just to add something fun for people. I remember my cousin, he had a farm, and he had some sort of, he would turn it into a maze on Halloween and all this kind of stuff, like the cornfield mazes and stuff. And, but he would advertise all that kind of stuff. And he had a moose head that he could talk into by standing far away. And the moose mouth would look like it's talking, but it would be his voice.
That's
awesome. You know what I mean? And the sound would come from a speaker within the moose, right? So, but it was like a life-size moose head. And he would take that to the fair, and then he would advertise. And every time kids come around, he would be standing back laughing because they're like looking at the moose talking to him and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, but it would talk directly to him because he could see the kids. So there's like, hey, you in the blue sweater. You know what I mean? And it's what? It's not like just, hey.
How does he know I have a blue sweater on?
The kid could say something and the moose could answer back. It was kind of cool, but just to have that kind of thing is pretty neat idea, actually.
Well, kind of relate to that, like, like dressing up. For a brief moment, I thought, oh, maybe I should, like, when I go to the auctions or whatever, walk around and have like an outfit I wear, not like a suit and tie, but something a little slightly corny, because those guys get remembered, eh? Like this one guy goes around, he had blue hair, but he got rid of the blue hair. But he's the jewelry guy. I always recognize the jewelry guy because he has blue hair, and he drives one of those like those old boats, the huge cars.
Yeah.
So he always had that. And it's like,
with the horns on the front.
Well, almost, yeah. But that sort of vehicle, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh, maybe I'll dress up like, just, I don't know, wear suspenders or something silly, right? And then I saw a guy do it, and the guy looked like Humpty Dumpty. I was like, oh, I don't want to look like that. So that idea went wayside pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I'm not embarrassed easily. So like if I had a bigger booth, right, where I had lots of room, I would wear something like a top hat. Like I'd be the guy who wears a top hat or something silly, whatever. It doesn't even matter what it is, right? Just to stand out, just for fun. But
yeah, it depends what you're selling too, right? So if you're selling stuff that's fun, then that makes sense. But I think if you're selling stuff to rich people,
oh, they would get a kick out of that.
I'm sure they would. Like, who is this guy?
You know who gives you the hard time is the people who aren't as rich, because they care what other people think.
Oh, well, I care about what people think, so maybe I'm in that category. I don't know. I still think it's fun though, but I don't know. I think it's a good idea. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's all. Hey, everyone's different too. We shouldn't say rich people do this and poor people do that, because that's not true at all. That's bullshit.
I think the kids
would love it. The kids
love it, right? Because it's something different, and they're just walking around with mom and dad the whole time, and everything's the same to them, right? They can't touch, they can't do anything, and all of a sudden this weirdo situation comes in front of them.
I don't want to be the weirdo. Awesome. I definitely don't want to be the old man weirdo with the kids around. Like that's not the.
I was thinking more of the moose that was talking and stuff.
Oh,
kind of where I was going with it. But
the funny thing is, the kids didn't get the costume at all. Like the Star Trek uniform, it was all the parents or the adults who were into that. Well,
is Star Trek still a thing? Probably not.
Oh, right? Yeah, it is.
For kids, for young generation?
Well, I don't think it was ever for a young generation, but
I don't know. The original Star Trek, I remember watching, and I thought it was awesome because the women were hot. And
Here we go.
Skimpy little dresses.
Right. Oh, man. You're the reason we had to go in sensitivity training all the time at work. But I also gave out Halloween candy. Actually, that was a big hit. Even with other booth owners kept coming by to grab candy out of my little cauldron, so that was pretty good. It was fun, but yeah, it was not exactly financially.
So, are you going to dress up as Santa Claus?
No, that's not my thing.
No, what?
No, I know. All I know is if Christmas comes along and is as bad as this, I'm not sure if I'll be there for the New Year's. I'll do January because January is pretty good, at least on eBay is pretty good.
But yeah, January. I'm really surprised, Carl. I don't know what's going on.
It's not just me though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's not just me. Right. The guy at the front, my friend Tim, he did really well that day, but he sold a couple of really good things. You know what I mean? So that made up a large part of his day. But I don't know. I'm not bored yet. Like, I am starting to get there though. Like, I need action in the booth. I need people coming in giving me. I don't care if you're buying something for $1. I want, just that interaction.
Yeah.
So,
could it be the location you're at? Like, are guys at the front doing really good, and the people wherever
the guys at the front I talked to, and I know.
Yeah.
And they said it's being very quiet. Last time,
but what's quiet mean? Like, if the front is doing 1,000 a day, but they're used to doing 3,000, and you're doing $10 a day, like, to them that's still quiet, but to you it's really quiet. Like, so I would find out if they're like, are they still making rent at least and that kind of stuff, or is it?
Yeah, I think it's more than like I don't want to say values because I know the values, but they said they used to get $3,000 days, $2,000 days, and they're not hitting anything like that now. So, I did a follow up because last time you asked, well, how long ago was that? And then he said 10 years ago. So 10 years is a long bloody time.
And 3,000 10 years ago was way different than 3,000 a day.
Yeah. So, but you know what's funny is, again, it keeps happening. But again, this weekend, I heard someone talking to another booth owner, and he sells at the flea markets, the ones where you have the tables at other locations. And he said he's doing $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 days. Yeah. So, and that's right now. That's not. So I'm not sure. I'm fine for now, but I want to see more money come in because it
is that a setup where you can leave your stuff there, or is that a setup where you bring it every day?
Bring it in, set up, bring it in. It's not that bad. Like if you could bring in, a couple of those folding tables, those long folding tables.
Yeah.
And you had everything already in like boxes just ready to put on your table. I don't think it would be that bad, but you need the right vehicle to do that. I definitely don't have the right vehicle to do. You definitely want to.
You got to buy a truck.
Yeah, you want a van or SUV or a truck or whatever. Yeah,
you get a van or a truck, dude. You're getting a truck, man. Come on, Carl.
I'm sorry, but I don't have any cowboy boots, so I wouldn't be able to use the truck.
I have cowboy boots, dude.
Oh, I really?
Yeah, for sure. Little tips on those, the steel tips, and
I almost bought some for I had a girlfriend at the time.
Yeah,
thank God I didn't, because those boots would have been around a lot longer than that girlfriend.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I haven't worn them years, but I had there was one point. I don't know if I should be saying this or not, but when I was in my 20s, my early 20s,
yeah,
I had 2 or 3 pairs of. Well, I had 3, but there was 2 at a time. One, the soles wore out on them. My first pair, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you remember when for a little while country was really in? Do you remember that
in the early 90s? Yeah,
yeah. I think that's probably when I was getting.
Everybody had cowboy boots. We were all
that was the time. Yeah,
we used to call them shit kickers. But...
shit kickers, nice.
But anyway,
anywho, yeah. So booth sucks. I want to grow. I asked the guy about expanding the booth, and he said there's actually a waiting list now. So,
wow,
yeah,
but you get. Well, is he pulling your leg on that one? You know what I mean?
So. Why would he pull my leg?
Yeah, I don't know. Is he
There's no empty booths in the mall. Let me tell you that much.
Yeah.
The only irritating thing is the guy next to me is never in.
It's but don't the people what who cares about a waiting list? You're already in there, so don't they give it to you guys first before they?
Well, the waiting list might be other booth owners. I don't know who's on that list.
Oh, okay.
I'd hate to move though, because I like the guys around me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big bonus just by itself, because I asked the guys across from me, why did you move? And they said sometimes you're across from someone you don't really particularly like. I'm not saying that happened to them, because I know there's other reasons they had to shut down their booth. So it wasn't like they didn't like them, but they said sometimes you could have someone you don't like, or like this one guy who plays music way too loud for me. I wouldn't want to be next to that guy.
Right.
So
what about the Stiff Bears? Did you take those in?
I did take those in.
Wow, they didn't sell.
No, I set up
if there's nobody there, though, there's nobody there.
I know there's no one there to sell to, right?
Right.
So what I do, don't worry, everyone. I'm closing this flea market booth conversation real soon. So I look at the photos. I take photos every time before I leave.
Yeah.
And it's these entire shelves I've sold 0 items from. So I'm really going to start being aggressive at pulling the stuff that had 0 attention. Not even people browsing it.
Yeah.
If people browse it, that's fine. And I don't sell anything, that's fine, because I might just not have what they want. But at least they're browsing it. It's the levels that people aren't even looking. So
this is at the booth. Dude, I don't know. I think you just got to give it time. You'll be surprised. I don't know. I don't want to say what to do. I don't know your situation, but I know there's things in there that I'm ready to take out and all of a sudden it sells. You know what I mean?
The
Like,
difference is that you're not there, right? So you
right.
don't really see the action that's in your booth, right? You're just like, this solar or this got moved around, right?
Yeah.
You don't really know. Like, you could have a, I'm not saying this happened. I'm just saying you could have a whole area of your booth that no one ever goes into, and you could have no idea. Or you could have a part of your booth like is super crammed all the time with people looking, and you have no idea, right? When you're
Yeah.
physically there, it's quite different.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Yeah. I just
man,
go on sales, and we had a good weekend. Like, I mean, things have picked up again.
yeah,
So I hope it does for you too. Like,
I just want people coming in. I want people looking, and
yeah,
it's
at least being able to judge your items, because if you got nobody there to even look at your stuff, you can't even judge the quality of your item or the desirability, because
that's it. Yeah.
that's the problem, right? Nobody's there to say, hey, look, this isn't what we're interested in, or
And
vice
it
versa.
really is only busy between like 11 and 1. That's sort of like for 2 hours. I almost kind of wish that they shut it down earlier, uh, because it's like 2 to 4. It's pretty, like 3 to 4 is really dead, really dead. Part of the problem for that is that a lot of people shut down at 3:30. So, but
And they're really only wrecking their own business, because if you start shutting down, people start, like,
they
it
won't show
messes
up.
people up whether they want to show up or not, even, right? Like, what
Yeah,
if somebody's like, okay, I got to go here by this time, and then we could slip over at 2 o'clock, but you know what, by the time we get there and within half an hour, everybody's going to start shutting down, so why even bother?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
stuff like that starts playing in people's heads, right? And then they find somewhere else to go, and then all of a sudden you lost a bunch of, so the vendors that shut down early are really only hurting themselves,
And
right?
hurting everyone around them too, right?
Well,
Because,
yes, I mean, vendors, yeah, they're hurting the vendors of the store,
yeah,
of
like the
that.
guy next to me, who I don't have a problem with at all. But the problem is he hasn't been like out of the. It's been 2 months now, so September, October. He's been in two and a half
Yeah.
Sundays,
Well, hey,
right?
listen. Yeah. That's
So
up to your owner to fix that problem,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So if your owner's not fixing that problem for the better of the whole bit, all the businesses there or people there, like, that's a problem in itself.
yeah,
Like,
and like I said,
I know where we are. Like,
yeah,
if people aren't pulling their weight, like Anna has either said, like, well, give them a warning, like, listen, this has got to change a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's buying your stuff. It's kind of a waste of space, and you got to be more into it. Or if they don't adhere to it, they, like, there was a guy with a really really big booth. This is back when I had to switch around and stuff, but they downsized him by a third of his size of the booth, and if it doesn't straighten up, then he's got to go. Um,
yeah,
there's
because
other people
they
that
want
she
their
just told you have to go.
yeah, well, they want their 10% too, right? Like that's part of their income.
Yep,
They
they
have a
pay employees.
non-performing asset.
Yeah, and it sounds kind of like, wow, who cares? You're paying rent, but at the same time, if your items aren't drawing people there, it's hurting
Yes,
everybody, right?
exactly, exactly.
And if you don't care, or you don't learn, or you're not trying, like, it's not good for the store. So you need people in there constantly trying to make it work, right? That want it to work.
And we have a
So
few people like that. Like I don't want to throw stones being the first,
yeah,
newbie there, but there's a few people like that in the mall or in the flea market who you can't buy anything from them because they're never there, or their booth is so crammed you can't even get in there. And they're kind of doing it just out of like, and they're nice guys and gals, right?
yeah,
Just that they don't really care about the selling part that much. It's more like the community aspect of it. But it's like it is affecting other people when, like, you know, it's like some of the customers too are like, we see the same customers all the time and they're not buying anything, which because it's part of their community, which is fine, but it's not exactly bringing people in. So there's a problem. Hey, I don't want to be the new guy and telling them how to do their business, but at the same time, I have noticed a few issues, and we'll see. Who knows? Maybe next week will be like wonderful, and I'll be like, "What the hell was I talking about?" Right? But
yeah. But I mean, so in our booth, it's a little different, all right, because nobody's there, so they have
yeah,
staff that go around and help people and cashiers and all that stuff. But anyway, but if people aren't pulling their rent, there could be a lot of issues regarding that, like too higher prices or not the right product, or not taking care of your booth properly. There's a lot of things that could come into play. So if you're not willing to pivot, if you're not willing to change, you're not willing to do what it takes to make it better, then why be there to begin with? You know what I mean?
Well, some people, it's a tradition. They've been there forever,
And as a store owner, to protect your own like your store, to protect it, you got to protect the vendors. And by doing that means sometimes you got to be tough, right? You got to say to some vendors, this isn't working out. Sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And or you have like you said, like if people go into, especially like an antique booth, it's all messed up all the time and everything's covered in dust, and like the guy or gal haven't been there in like 2 months. Yeah. And it's like and like you said, you have to protect your business, and like if you get a reputation as the store that nothing has changed in 20 years, people are going to stop going, right?
Yeah.
Like that guy had that.
Maybe what's happening with your location.
It could be.
Right.
It could be.
So
they're trying a few things. But I think they're trying a few things.
I honestly think one of the main things is to keep you have to keep things at the like, if you're going to have bad vendors and you need space, you got to start putting them at the back. So guys that prove themselves have first dibs on the front. You know what I mean? Guys that are there all the time, stay to the end. Those are the guys you got to bring into the front of the store. If somebody's messing up, just say, listen, you're at the back of the store. You can leave whatever you want. You know what I mean? If you're not willing to cooperate, your stuff will be, I'll put your stuff at the back of the store. You know what I mean? I will move your stuff out of your booth to the back of the store. You know what I mean? That's in the, I would have that in the written agreement.
Yeah, we don't have a written. Oh no, we do have a written agreement.
Well, you probably have to have some written agreement.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's basically don't sell food.
Yeah, and that we're not responsible for your items, all that kind of stuff, right? But that's the way I would be, right? And if you're like that right up front, as soon as the person comes in, then they know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I think in this place is a balance between the guy who runs the place is kind of like, he doesn't get any of the percentage of the sales. He just gets the rent, and he has to deal with the maintenance and security to a certain extent, and the washroom.
Well, I understand that, but also
I'm just saying his incentive isn't as strong maybe as it could be.
Well, if he's not getting people there, you're going to quickly lose vendors. Like, True. Okay, he's got a waiting list now, but people are going to start really quickly realizing that the place sucks. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not saying it does.
No.
It could be that type of season, and all of a sudden it's going to perk right up. I don't think the economy is an issue. I mean, if people are selling thousands of dollars in other locations, it's not the economy. We're doing well. Ken out in Barrie's doing well. Other stores I've heard are doing well. You know, people going to Aberfoyle for a weekend are doing extremely well. So it can't be the economy.
No, and like I said, I've heard from numerous different random sources, which is kind of funny, that they're doing really well at the flea markets.
Yeah.
Like
you go to an estate sale, and it's definitely not yard sale prices, but you go to an estate sale, like I'm going to the one this weekend. It's crazy. It's going to be like line up. Like I got to get there at 7:00 for the doors to open at 8, and I'm probably still not going to be first in line.
Screw estate sales. Yeah.
And then, right, and the prices are going to be high. You go to auctions, people are paying ridiculous money for some things, you know.
Oh, yeah, I did. Speaking of that, I went to an auction. Remember last time I said I was going to go to the auction?
Yeah.
Oh my God, freaking traffic! It should have taken me an hour to get there. It took me 2 hours to get there. Looked around. There's nothing I really wanted. Got back in the car and drove the hour back.
Oh my gosh! Really, eh?
Yeah, there was some good stuff. They had Snap-on tools. They had a lot of Snap-on tools and a
Oh,
billion guys looking at the Snap-on tools. And I just looked at like all the stuff for the live auction, and it's just like because the live auction it's slow, right? Like you
well,
could
yeah.
like I don't mind that too much if there's lots of lots that are coming up I'm interested in. But I was just looking around at all the stuff, and it's just like there really wasn't enough there to get me to get my ticket and get me sitting down and waiting for those very few select lots to come up. There wasn't enough, so I came back. That sucked. So my mojo for reselling is down a lot. I don't know what's going on. I'm
Well,
hoping it.
it's a bad time of year to have that happen,
I
but it
know,
does
eh?
happen, right? Like right now, you got to push it hard, Carl. You
Yeah.
got to energy, you got to stretch, you got to really,
Oh
you know.
man, I've
But
been watching YouTube and playing video games. Does that count?
ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. But
How's your life going? After that was half an hour of my life. How's your life?
here we'll sum it up real quick. Great. No,
I thought you
no,
were
it's
gonna say
going.
toy
Everything's
soldiers.
going good.
Yeah, yeah,
I slowed down on my listing too, but I've been kind of focusing some stuff on the booth.
yeah.
And I had a couple picks. I go to a pick tomorrow. I'm going to pick on Saturday, which is the estate sale on Saturday. It's a private pick tomorrow. So there's just a lot. Like I'm still working till like midnight pretty much every day, but sometimes you don't see it based on listings. You have to. I see it other ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cleaning, organizing, putting stuff ready for the booth. Um, the booth, I got 3 of them, so it takes a lot of effort to keep those full, but they're selling. It's selling. It's doing well there, right? I slowed down on the little figures. Okay, so let's get into it, right? Toy soldiers, right?
Toy soldiers.
So I knew I had a feeling. I think I said this last show that some of the boxes were a little heavy, and
Uh-oh.
there's a chance for things to break.
Uh-oh.
Well, the guy did say that a couple broke in the one box. He hasn't
Oh,
went
man.
through them all in the other boxes and stuff.
Right.
I don't know. There's 3 or 4 boxes, all pretty big, but one was extremely big. So okay, I said, okay, I'll reimburse you for the. He showed me 3 or 4 figures, so I'll reimburse you. He said no. He goes, he expected. No, he says First Legions are very brittle, so he's not surprised. It's a kind of love hate thing because he really likes them, but they're very brittle, so he doesn't like them. But he says he fixes them up. He showed me some pictures of other ones that he's fixed up in the past. So he says if you have any broken pieces, he could be interested in buying them. But I'm just a little concerned. Like he hasn't come out and given me a 5-star review. I should check today. I mean, this was just yesterday. We're talking, so he just got them. So he still has to go through them all. But where am I going with this? So now he being very reasonable on the broken pieces. So
Yeah.
now I don't want to cut all my prices so much. Like, because I didn't know he was going to come in and buy like, 4 or 5 grand worth of crap, right? Which on retail value that I had listed might be double that. You know what I mean? Like he's really, really chopping it down. So I'm like, where am I going? What am I going to do here, right?
Uh-oh. Am I having a negative influence on you on greedy side?
No, but here's the thing. So
Right.
the other day I listed probably 10, right? And I had them for $69.95, $59.95, $49.95. Now he's giving me $30, $35 depending on which one it was. And then if it's the one with the horses, he was giving me $75. But the other ones were selling at full price, no problems, no questions, no anything.
Yeah.
I sold 5 or 6 of them like within like a couple hours of listing, and they want more. They wanted, oh, do you have this? Do you have that? And I'm like, why am I going to keep selling this guy so low priced when other people are in here right away buying them?
Yes.
Now,
Yes. Come to the dark side. Sorry.
well, no, but because let's put it in perspective. The
Okay.
reason I went for those in the last time because he was buying the ones that were sitting around for a couple of weeks and there was multiple listings in competition. Now he's coming in and he's just buying everything, expecting that
Bastard.
cheap price.
What an ass.
Well, so when don't worry about it. You don't have, I don't expect reimbursement for these broken ones. That's fine. Blah, 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 blah. And now I'm like, well, he's being super reasonable. Now I have to give him a discount on these other ones he's asking
no,
so
this guy's a master negotiator here.
Yeah, I'm getting played.
These ones totally broke. Oh yeah,
the players being played, right?
Yeah, the players being played.
Now touche with the chess match. So what I want to do is,
that's a very difficult situation, by the way.
Well, because I don't want him to turn angry and then get all like, right. So I don't think he will. I think I've got him to admit enough. Like he said, these items were well packed. He said that. He goes, "You packed well." He said that in the comments. So
we don't really know like what he's thinking in his head, right? We can only kind of guess what he's thinking. Like he could be like not realizing that he's like, well, I bought the other ones for 35. What's so wrong about asking for the other ones for 35? And it's not like some master plan, right? That's just the way he's thinking. And he's probably thinking you're really happy. Well, you are happy, but really happy just selling a whole bunch. But at the same time, it's like you're throwing away $10, $15 on each figure that you could have easily gone just by waiting another day or two. It's hard, right?
Possibly, right? Like possibly.
Yeah, you don't know, no.
I don't know, no. But in like it's always tough, right? And I got a lot of stuff. It's got to move. I got here's a guy. Like I mean, I shouldn't be complaining about him paying me over $4,000 for a bunch of figures, like less than 10% of what I have in total. But should I? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
he's
paid for 80 figures almost as I paid for 800 to 1,000 figures. You know what I mean? So,
but still, like, this sort of thing comes up a lot. Maybe not with one. Well, with someone over a long time where you buy, like I hear this a lot. Okay. You make a new contact, you buy stuff off of them, you offer them, they ask for X, you give them X because you're hoping to get more stuff in the future. But then the next time you see the guy wants X again, or he wants X plus more, right? Because he thinks, oh, I gave him a good deal. And then you have these awkward situations where like now you're trying to make up for the first buy. You know what I mean? There's all of that stuff that's happening.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make up. Like, I mean, those I'm happy with. If the deal was done, that's done. But when he keeps coming back expecting the same deal on other stuff, and he kind of has that little bit of a, carrot in front of me, like, listen, I could give you bad feedback. He's never threatened me that, but it's there in my mind.
Right? I know the paranoia starts kicking in.
So, I mean, there's different ways of doing this. Like when, and let me totally clarify this amount of toy soldiers, these type of toy soldiers, I don't have any experience in. So these are new to me, other than I can see they have a good record of selling for good values. So do I want to get stuck down the road with a bunch that have lots of competition out there? No. So this was a great opportunity. I've already made my money back. This was bonus. I'm happy about that. But when I see other people, as soon as I list things, come in and start hammering on these things pretty hard without asking for a discount, they're only buying a few, but now you're selling to many for more than to one for a little bit. You know what I mean? So what I'm kind of getting at is I think I got to play it carefully.
Yeah.
But what I'm planning on doing right now is just calming it a little bit by putting different stuff out there than those toy soldiers. Those will sell all the time. It doesn't have to be Christmas for those to sell.
No.
So right now I'm trying to get my Christmas stuff up. That's kind of my claim to the issue, right? And then maybe I'll throw out a few later on. But definitely, like, I got some really, really high-end packages here, like very good King and Country, very good Britons. They're big packages, or they'll be like once I'm just kind of looking at a box here. It's got like a long fence. The fence is about 12 inches long, and it's got an Indian where his hand attaches to the top of the fence and he's leaping over it. It looks like he's midair.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that goes for $100 to $150, something like that. I'm not going to let that go for $50. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I have a lot of cannons. I have a lot of like, there's all sorts of stuff here that I'm not just going to let go for really cheap, you know? So do I let him do it? And this is where I didn't want to get into. I didn't want to have to cherry pick out of each box, but now do I just kind of, okay, these are all very common and these ones are not. So let him keep buying the common ones, and once those are out, then I turn it the other way. Like there's different ways to play it right now, but right now what I plan on doing, getting rid of I have a lot of stuff here. I'm going to get rid of a lot of stuff that isn't those toy soldiers, going to let them calm down a little bit, and then I'll get back to them once all this is kind of settled down. And I'm fine with that, right? I've made my money back and everything. So
or what you could do is list them when he's sleeping. He's in California. List them at like 9 a.m. Hopefully they'll sell by 11 a.m. And then finally he wakes up in California and they're already sold at full price to someone else.
Yeah, I thought about that already.
But did you really?
Yeah, but it doesn't work quite that way.
I know. It's just a funny thought I had.
It is, but I think this guy sleeps for 4 hours a night and then he just, comes back out there. More toy soldiers.
He's like an alarm goes off. Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. So, I mean, in all honesty, it looks like he collects these things, but I don't even know. He could be reselling them for all I know. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I mean, I'm not of the mindset where I need to get absolute full price, but I'm not going from 70 to 30.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like that basketball, you know what I mean? Or the soccer ball, right? Like, okay, I had it for $369. So there was one or two listings closer to the floor. One was definitely over 400, but is that realistic for me to expect? Most of them are going between $300 and $350. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some are being sold less. I got $275 on a $15 investment. I've already played around with one guy. This guy seemed to be very happy. He gave me positive feedback. He grabbed that soccer ball, the mad ball. So I'm good with that. Like, I'm happy with that. The guy was super, super happy. He just kept thanking me and all this kind of stuff. But that's still a very reasonable. It's as low as I was going to go, but it hit my threshold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
like 70 to 30 is a huge discount.
That's it is. That's percentage wise, it's a lot bigger for sure.
Yeah, like percentage wise, it's like 50 or 60%. Like,
but at the same time, everybody's got their stuff saying new at 85, so I'll go to 70, hoping for 65. You know what I mean?
Selling for 30, yeah.
So it's not like I know where the market is for pre-owned toy soldiers, even though they're in great condition. I'm not sure where that market is for pre-owned. So I'm kind of guessing too. So I'm not sure where that threshold is on the pre-owned ones. And I'm taking my kind of price range. I'm taking my price and determining it from ones that are being listed as brand new.
Yes.
Right. And the funny thing is sometimes pre-owned ones of the same make, model, everything have sold for 85 and new ones are being sold for 75.
Yeah, it could be how many are out there at the time.
Well, they're all kind of like listed at the same. It's got to be within 3 months if they're sold.
Yeah, but if
right, so the pre-owned ones,
I rarely see that, but I have seen that. Like if you have someone who underpriced a new piece, and it's sold
quite often with these toy soldiers. Like I see that quite often, but right now there's no pre-owned ones really for to be sold. They're all listing as brand new.
Sometimes people put things in good condition as new too. That drives me nuts.
Yes, and that's what I don't know. And a lot of them are using the same photos. So they're using a stock photo, and one's being shipped from France, one's being shipped from United States, one's being shipped from England. So they're not the same people, but they're using the same photos.
Sometimes it gets funky. Like if I see a lot of prices from like the Eastern European countries, I don't always I take those with a grain of salt. Like, or Greek, sometimes there's funny prices. It's like, I don't know what's going on with those listings, but sometimes I'll just say United States only if I'm trying to price stuff, because there are funky ones.
Well, I find Australia seems to get more money for their items than most of us. Like
That
AU
doesn't
is
surprise
Aussie,
me.
right? Australia.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me though, because it's just like they're so far out there that there's less supply of funky stuff that they probably want, right?
Yeah.
Like we buy from United States, we buy from UK, United States, Canada, right? It's relatively easy all from those. But if you're like in the middle of the other side of the earth, yeah, you have less demand, I guess, as well. But who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Australia's weird.
Yeah. It's so anyway, so I'm just gonna play around with it right now. I got lots of stuff. I'm gonna kind of just slow putting on the brakes here a little bit. I might throw out a few now and then of the toy soldiers, but I got lots of stuff here to go through and start it up after Christmas, or I don't know, might just give it a couple weeks. I really don't know yet. I'm just trying to feel it out, but I need this guy to kind of back off a little bit now.
Stop buying my stuff, you bastard.
Like honestly, like, because it's not even buying, it's more of like, is like bringing the price down. That's another thing too. Like, am I dropping the value of these things so much? Because I'm showing a horse that I had 125 on for $75 being sold. So now does that bring all my king and country with horses and Indians on them?
Oh, like, you're collapsing the market.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I got to be careful of that too. I looked at it that way because he's buying so much. That's the problem, right? So right. So I don't know. Well, we're just gonna have to. I'm just gonna keep playing it the way I am and just kind of take it bit by bit. So
I think taking a breather from the toy soldier listing isn't a bad idea, really.
Yeah, it's just I got so many, and they don't take up a lot of room individually, obviously, but there's boxes of this stuff, Carl. And last week I went and grabbed more, as we discussed.
Yeah.
So, it's, I don't know. It's one of those things where I think because I have so much of other stuff, it's not a big deal, but there is money just kind of sitting in those boxes too, which is kind of a quick, easy buck. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a tough thing. But at the same time, I can throw a lot of them in the booth too, and get money that way as well. So anyway, the week's been pretty good overall. The booth has been doing well. I'm glad to see that pick up, and just kind of playing it out. We're going right into Christmas pretty soon. We're going to get the Christmas months. So I can't complain. I mean, the future within the next 3 months is looking bright.
Yeah.
After that, I have no clue. I don't know.
Sweet.
But there's lots of stuff to pick. Like, I can't every day. It seems like there's somewhere else to pick. You know what I mean? I'm doing online auctions. I have other auction options to go to. I did not go to that auction, which you said you'd be surprised if I didn't go.
I know. I called that one wrong. Yes,
but it's just because I don't want to get to a silly point, and I know the private picks were coming up. I know the estate sale was coming up because it's a local one here. So, and we'll just see from there.
Yeah, I haven't been sourcing much at all, really. Like, I've been checking the online auctions, but nothing's really come up. Like I said, I went to that live one, but I didn't even stay. I'm surrounded by big stuff now, and I have nowhere to put it, so it's kind of shutting me down, I must admit. But every time I come downstairs to work lately, it's just like, I don't want to. And then I go back upstairs. So I'm hoping that's going to, I go through these phases too when it's like this. Yeah. And I can't control it. I just have to wait for it to, like, eventually it'll stop, and then I'll get back into it. So I probably have to mix things up.
I'm going to assume we're all like that, Carl, because I definitely go through that as well. But sometimes I have to fight through it. So I don't know. Do you have anything that helps you? Like, I come down here, everything is downstairs here, so I'm downstairs right now. But when I come down here, sometimes putting something on in the background, like a movie or something like that, gets me a little bit motivated. Sometimes, honestly, I'll watch other resellers on YouTube, like Lonnie and Candace, and it's kind of inspiring. You know what I mean? Because I just see them just plugging away every day. They're doing the right thing. And it's like, you know what? And then, okay, so I don't list 10 items, but if I get 4 items or 6 items up, you know what I mean? Or get some stuff ready for the booth, I'll try to mix it up a little bit differently. And sometimes that helps, But at the same time, when I'm busy all day and I haven't got a chance to list and it's 6 o'clock at night and I just ate supper and I'm coming downstairs and I'm like, oh, I don't feel like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like, I find with the live shows, sometimes I'll just sit there watching them, which is kind of really good. Why sometimes there's an audio only shows, because then I'm not watching anything. It's easier just to have it play.
Right.
So I do play ADHD focus music, which really works for about 15 or 20 minutes, which is freaky, but it's very plain music, no lyrics or anything. And I get stuff done. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, if you're not going to list, at least clean up, I can still pack. That's not a problem. But yeah, it's for me, it's a mystery I've never figured out yet. And it's my bugaboo is probably that. It's not the buying of the stuff. It's not the, all those different aspects. It's the getting me to be motivated to do it. But I don't want to complain about it. It's just very annoying. And of course, like you just said, of course it happens now in October, right before like the time you want to put out the most stuff. Like I did put up a camera the other day, one of those nice Olympus cameras.
Yep.
And that sold immediately for $120, right?
Nice.
So when I do it, it's not like that's the problem. Like things selling, that's not the problem. And things have been selling. It's just the motivation. Did you take advantage of yesterday's Free Tuesday?
No, I did not. I've had multiple items going out every day. Yesterday, and not to digress too much. Okay, so are we finished with this conversation? Because there's something actually I want to talk about.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I did not take advantage of Tuesday. No. Is that it?
Yeah.
If you got something else, go ahead, because I got.
No, I'm sick of speaking of like not wanting to do my work.
Okay. So I watched I don't know, Playback podcast thing or whatever it is. It's got Bearded Picker in it, who comes on our Wednesday show. I enjoy listening to those guys. There was a guest on the other day. Apparently he used to work for eBay. He sounds like he's British. I never caught that part of the interview, if he is in Britain or not. And they were talking about the algorithms and all this kind of stuff. And then last night, I'm like, just kind of flicking through the YouTube channels, and I see this couple pop up and how they listen to the podcast, and they're changing their store based on that podcast. And I don't know if that's really a good thing. Like, this is one guy's kind of opinion, and I don't know, he kind of sells differently. So he was saying that he sells stuff for cats. But if you're selling, and these people are pulling off their ephemera, and they're talking about the algorithms and how, and they're talking about
the only one I believe is if you list it, you'll sell it. Anything else is just people trying to make the chaos of like selling under a controllable thing. And,
yeah. So like, this is what this is what I'm saying. So they're talking about click-through rate and all this other stuff and how it can increase store sales. So they're going to take down like 2,000 ephemeral listings,
which is one of the slowest things ever. Yeah.
But they're going to take them down because they're saying it's slowing down the store, because people might be looking for perfume or like a bottle or something, and then they get there and they find out it's a paper or cardboard advertisement.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it for 1 second, because who on earth goes to a store on eBay, right, an individual, and looks at the different things they have for sale? Does anyone actually buy that way?
No. So say they type in, I don't know, Britney Spears perfume.
Right.
And they get there and they click on something and they find out it's just an advertisement. So then they pop back out. So now they've looked at it, and now you're getting a lot of viewers with no sales. So eBay pushes your product down low because they don't think that people really want it, right?
That might happen a little bit, but I know everyone disagrees with me. I understand this.
So what they're saying is people will, I think what you got to do is watch what you put in your titles. You know what I mean?
Oh, that
Make sure
I
you
agree
got
with.
proper pictures.
Keywords are important.
Right?
Good first picture, I agree on.
Right? So
here's the thing. Here's the thing with all this stuff, right? People say, "Oh, my store's being hidden. My items aren't showing up on the search." Blah blah blah. But then they never try it from a third party. They never see, does my Britney Spears perfume show up on the search list or not? They don't. They just say these. I'm probably pissing off viewers, but like they never try.
Well,
How do you know
think
that's true?
I think what they're saying is people are clicking on their product, but they're not buying it. So eBay's pushing their stuff down. That's what they're saying.
That's possible. That's possible, but it depends on how much they're pushing your stuff down. It also depends on what you sell. Like if you're selling, like, I don't know, phone cases, right? Where there's a trillion other people also selling phone cases. Yeah, that's important. If you're selling the toy soldier with the Indian crossing, going over that fence, and there's 3 other sellers out there, who cares if you're the third in the list? Everyone's seeing all 3 listings, so you have to kind of take that into account. But right. I tell you, what gets my grits going is all these conspiracy theories, and they never actually have any evidence or proof of any of it. It's known, Khaleesi. Of course it's true because we know it's true because we said it was true. Like, that stuff drives me nuts. Right. I want to see some evidence. And they never have any evidence. They just have, I have a feeling, and then someone else agrees with that feeling. And then the third person says, I agree with the feeling, and therefore that's evidence. And it's like, it gets me nuts.
Well, I agree. I agree with you to a degree, right, because I think I agree with you totally, to be honest with you, but I can see their point and I can understand the algorithm in that way. Now, I'm probably going to get this all mixed up now because I had it in my head when I was watching it, but now I got to try to remember how they were saying it, which will trigger what I'm thinking. But basically, when I'm selling my stuff, like if you're looking at a piece of cardboard or advertisement, there could be something that person, oh, I already have that one, or I don't like the crease there, I want perfection, or like there's different things that person could be looking for. You know what I mean? But here's another one. Here's something else. I'm kind of digressing because this just popped in my head, but this is like, how many times do I go on someone's item to copy their title, like not copy verbatim their title, but to understand their title, to get their information, because I'm selling similar.
For me, that's all I do.
So how many resellers do that? So that's you might get, I don't know, 15 views, but 10 of them might be other resellers basically reselling something similar.
Oh yeah, I don't worry about that because
I'm not worried about it, but I'm just saying this is what they're saying. The algorithms are causing issues with sales. So this guy was, and I'm saying there could be a lot of circumstances why those people are looking at it, and they might just be like looking through it. Like, who knows, right? Like,
or your price is wrong. Like, I've seen people bitching on eBay forums about their stuff. No one's buying stuff. And then you look at their store and they're priced 50% higher than everyone else.
Right. And
people tell them you're overpriced. And they say, I don't care. I have beautiful pictures. People should pay for my pictures. So because it's like, he's not taking any. Well, honestly, it's like you overpriced and you don't like to accept that. You don't accept that the market has changed. You don't accept your prices are overpriced and you're complaining you don't have sales. Well,
that's strengthening that guy's convictions, because he's saying that because of that, because it's high priced, that the algorithms are seeing that, therefore they're pushing your item lower in the rank because
it probably does have part to do with the rank. Yes, I can see that.
So, but what I'm saying is, I'm kind of saying other things. I'm kind of going back. I'm not saying this guy's wrong at all. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I don't think people should be starting just to go into the store and start deleting all these listings without seriously giving it some consideration and looking at each individual piece. Because first of all, like you said, from it can be a very slow.
It's a known, slow, bulk item, generally with a lot of competition item. You can't sell that the same way as the unique sculpture from an artist where there's being 3 listings and 3 sold over the last 3 months. You can't compare the two with the other one where there's 100 listings, 100 solds. It's not the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And like to shut down your store because like what are they dropped all their ephemera because it's selling slow? What are they trying to accomplish?
I know. They said something like 2,000 listings or something. So I don't know if they had 7,000 or something like that. Like if you want to take something out of your store because you want to take it to a flea market or an antique booth, or you're going to have a yard sale and kind of get rid of some of the stuff because it's just hanging around, it's taking up space, that's a whole different ballgame. But if you're doing it because somebody said that and what they sell is cat collars and stuff like that, like
completely different market. Exactly.
Completely different market.
It's right? Not, you can't compare.
Like, look at that lawn bowling ball. I had 4
Oh, you got me going now. Now I'm pissed.
I know. You just perked right up there, Carl. Jeez.
It's my pet peeve. It's my pet peeve of people using ignorance and making decisions on ignorance. Like, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying they haven't proven shit. And it drives me nuts. Especially like in this. It's not, you can't even compare the two. Like cat toys and like postcards are, Jesus Christ.
It's absolutely a very good listen. You should go and listen to it because it really opens your mind to different ideas on reselling.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying the guy's wrong. I don't know, but I wouldn't just go to my store and knock out 2,000 items, especially if it's ephemera, because that's going to take a long time to sell anyway.
It can take years for that stuff to sell, and that's why you need so much of it, right?
The lawn bowling ball I had for a year and a half, sold for $250.
But you had it for a year and a half because the lawn bowling buyers are a pretty small market.
It's a small niche out there, right? And then they have to find it, so and want to find it. They have to want to come to eBay. So I just think like. It's a place where you can sell very unique things if you're into that, which I think we are. We try to sell things that are sellable, but some of the stuff is one of a kind stuff, right? So
it's hard for the one of a kind stuff.
But is it like
it can be?
So and then I followed up with another show. I was up till 4:00 in the morning, so I watched lots of TV last night. And then I watched another one, and the woman, this is a whole different show.
Right.
She has the right concept. But she was going on, if you got to watch your store, because if you buy things for $5 a piece and you sell 3 of those 10, you're only making a small portion in the long run. And that's fine. But who's buying everything for $5? I'll buy a bunch of things for $100. I'll sell 1 or 2 pieces for $100 or $200, and everything else is free money. You know what I mean? So, I think there's different strategy. You can't just listen to someone, and don't listen to me either. I'm not saying, but I'm saying for myself, you got to do what's right for you and feel it out. I get the concept. But I'm not going out and buying everything for $5 and selling it for $15. I'm not doing that. So how can I, should I not have bought that Dodge Charger grill? You know what I mean? Should I have not put 26 plus commission, everything? So let's say $35. Should I have not have bought that because it wasn't worth $5 and it doesn't fit my $15 sale? I'm buying that and selling it for $350 with a break in it, parts and repair. And then I'm buying other stuff for $2, $10, $50. So that just covers everything I bought at that auction plus profits. And now anything that sells is profitable. You know what I mean? So those math, it looks good on paper and you can make it sound really good, but it makes no sense in reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't take a general rule and then equate it for everything we sell.
Right. So I think at a general rule, I try not to pay more than 35% per item. Has that always happened? 98% of the time it has. But there's also probably 75% of the time that I buy it for way less than 35%. I might be buying it for 10% or 1% or nothing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
And
you
sometimes they
have
won't
to
even take free
always
stuff.
if like people, I think people focus too hard on the store. This is my mindset. I'd love to hear people's comments, and we're going to get to comments really soon. But next week's comments, like, let me know if I'm out to lunch. I think if you work really hard on the buy, you work really hard getting that as low as possible. That means turning shit down. That means going out there pounding the pavement. Like, if you want to do this seriously and full time, what that means is you get your stuff as cheap as possible and you find sources to get it there. It's not going to happen at the beginning, but you work hard to find those sources and ways to get that stuff cheap. That doesn't mean going out to a storage unit, because you're really paying for storage units, and some are hits, some are misses. I'm talking about getting sources, going out there, picking bundles. You go to a yard sale, you pick a lot of stuff, not bad shit, stuff that's going to sell. You have multiple ways of getting rid of that stuff. You know what I mean? You don't just rely on eBay. You have other ways.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is,
yeah,
it's you work hard on the buy, you keep strict on your buying process, and everything else will fall into place. I'm not saying don't watch it. I'm just saying, or monitor it, because sometimes your prices are going to be high. You have to bring that down. But if you paid 50% for $100 item, by the time everything comes out of it, you can't bring it down too much without looking at breaking even or taking a loss. But if you can go and grab those items for 30%, 10% of the $100, you got lots of wiggle room. You know what I mean? Like, when I bought all those toy soldiers, some people think I went way high on those things, right? I got $5,000 on the first buy, which was a ton of them. I went out to spend another. I bought more stuff, than just the soldiers. But those soldiers were around $2,000. By the time I give her a little bit extra, I went to 23, more than what we agreed upon. Long story. And then I bought some other stuff for another couple $100. So let's say $7,500 all in. I've already made my money back on all that stuff. Before I went back for the second buy, I was already into the profits. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean the rest of what I got left, 700 to 900 pieces plus the second buy? Like, does that mean that I'm probably sitting here with 1,200, 1,500 pieces? Does that mean that I shouldn't have took that deal? Like, this is all profit now, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, you're talking from experience as well, right?
Well, but they're saying they have the experience, and they're saying this is how you should follow it. And I'm really talking about that girl now, because I think she's trying hard. She does a lot of clothing, so maybe there's something there that
clothing can be very different again,
right?
Yeah.
But you should, but then say that. Don't just say
each
item eBay store.
Right.
Talk about that stuff. You know what I mean?
Like, if we were talking about items, like, each item's probably has certain characteristics to it, right? That make it pluses and minuses. And what we buy and how much we pay for it depends on those criteria, those specifics for those items, right? Like, if you just an example, you talk about your toy soldiers, right?
Yeah.
Is there demand? What's the demand level? What is it easy to list? Is it easy to ship? Do you have to test it? Is there a lot of damage to this? All those factors combine together to make.
That's on the buy. That's on your buy side.
What's on the sell? So, like, you want to see what's the turnover rate on this thing, right?
Well, yeah.
Is there demand for it?
Hopefully you've done that before you bought it.
I know, but what I'm trying to say is each item is different for that. Okay. So I wasn't finished. Okay. So that's the toy soldiers. Now compare that to a postcard, right? And a postcard, you're probably paying a fraction of even what you paid for the soldier value, right? But with the postcards, the turnover rate is a lot lower, right? The shipping is easy, so both easy, but I say the postcard is even easier. The listing is even easier with a postcard because you have the automatic machines to do it. But the turnover rate is so slow on that postcard. So if you have that toy soldier for a year, that might be a failure. If you have that postcard for a year, that's fine. That's the way it is. It doesn't take up any room in your inventory. Like, there's all these factors that go into what an item should or shouldn't do. And if you're comparing one store that sells toy soldiers and another store that sells just postcards, you're going to get bad info, right?
Yeah, and also I would, in my opinion, like, this is what I look for. So I'm not telling anybody here's the advice, because you guys probably know more than I do because you've been in it longer than I do. But as far as reselling is concerned, doing it for 10 years, I started out with the antique booths and stuff like that. So what I'm looking for is a return on investment as part of all the other factors involved. And if I'm making $10 on that postcard, that's fine because it's very easy to do. But if I'm making $50 or $30, $40 on average, because some of them sold more and some sold less, but if you're looking at $50 for easy math on your return on investment on those toy soldiers, you know what I mean? Like, that comes into play too. It doesn't need
but when you can make a comparison like that, it
can be any item. What's that?
When you make a comparison like that, you also have to take into effect all the time costs that's involved, right?
Exactly.
You bought that postcard for 25 cents, you sold it for $10, or you bought that.
That's totally what I just said.
Oh, it wasn't finished. Or you buy that toy soldier for $10 and you sell it for $50. You made $40 on one, and you made about whatever that was, $9.50 on the other. But you could pump out 5 cards in the same amount of time that you did that toy soldier. I'm not saying that's the truth.
That's what I just said, Carl. That's exactly the point I was making.
Okay.
I was totally making that point.
Man, you got me riled up.
No, I know. If you go back and listen to it, you're going to say, "Oh, Scott was talking." That's what he was saying. But I'm saying, like, sure, you might make $10 on that postcard, and because you said that it could take longer ahead of that to deal with it because the postcard's less time to take care of it. But I'm just saying, but if I'm making $50 on that toy soldier or any item, that as it also works as well. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, yesterday.
Well, I'm saying you have to take that into account because you could do 5 postcards in the time. I'm making up numbers. I'm not saying this is truth.
Right.
I'm saying you could do 5 postcards in the time it takes you to do that one toy soldier, from starter process to end of process of shipping it out.
I sold a Aboriginal silk screen. It's West Coast, signed. It's got the stamp on it, the embossed stamp on it, framed in glass, for $250 yesterday. It's taking me probably half an hour to wrap it up, put it in the box.
Yeah.
And I'm going to double box it just to make sure. So now I got to find that box that's going to fit this box. So it's probably going to take me an hour. Took me nothing to list it. It's front and back, and then you just take some close-up pictures of the signatures and shit.
Yeah.
But it's probably going to take me an hour to properly, by the time you find boxes and all this stuff, because it's
the entire process. Yeah.
But I'm doing $250. It's pure profit. There's nothing I have in this, because when I went to an auction, I bought 3 at the same time, prints. In fact, if you remember me talking about, and it took a year and a half to sell. If you remember me talking about this a while ago, not on this show, but probably my other show, the guy went to the washroom, and when he came back, he's like, "Whoa," like he was all upset because the prints have gone, right? So I paid like $20 or $25 for 3 of them, and I sold one of them. The other 2 went to the booth, but this one went online, and $250. You know what I mean? So that's a pure profit play, because the other ones were on the profit. So this one I have nothing into. Who cares if it sits for a year and a half? It's going to sell. It did sell. So basically for $250 minus whatever eBay's going to take in fees, I made $150, $180. You know what I mean? In an hour. So, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Carl?
I know what you're saying.
But I'm just saying, but if people said, oh, that's been in my store for a year, I'm going to sell it in a yard sale and get rid of it, I think that's the wrong way to go too, because now you've already put the time in listing it, taking photos of it. It's sitting there. It's not taking up it's a very thin piece. Put it on your wall. It's a nice piece of art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and like you're taking the factors of the item into account of like, it doesn't take up a lot of inventory space. Right. I think like for me, I did a purge, right?
but I'm also going to go back to my point where
right
on the buy, those things have to be in play. Like
as many as you can get. Yeah.
Right. So when you buy something, you're also looking at inventory space, you're looking at condition, you're looking at all sorts of different reasons.
I also look at the fact, am I actually going to list this damn thing?
Well, that's upon you as your personality. You know what I mean?
Like that should also be taken into account when you buy stuff. Like if you look at like
well,
let's say you're buying a piece of like intricate glass with 1,000 little pieces off and it's in perfect condition, right? And you're going to make $30 off of that. I'd be running away so far from that object, where I'll happily buy a remote control for $1 that I can sell for 15, because I'm taking into account all of that cost and will I actually do it?
Yes,
because that glass intricate piece, it's such a pain in the butt because you have to make sure there's no damage on it. Well, and you're going to miss some. But
I think that's a factor. That's definitely a factor when you buy. But that's kind of my point, is that all these things have to come in play on your buy. You got to watch that episode. What you do, Carl, I'm going to rewatch it. You go watch that episode. It's actually a good listen. I would recommend anybody.
What's it called again?
It's got Bearded Picker in it, him and a couple other guys. And they do the podcast, the
Power Hour or something.
Power Hour podcast thing. They have a guy from Britain who apparently has worked for eBay in the past and he understands the algorithms, but all he's selling is kind of cat. And I'm not putting it down, but I can't compare a guy who's selling cat collars and stuff like that, because he's trying to get his search. He's trying to hit the algorithms for one item or one type of item in order to be in the top of the search. I can't do that with my items. No. You know what I mean? Because
for cat items, there's probably 1,000 competitors out there. It makes more sense to worry about stuff like that.
Yeah, but they're kind of blanking it, and it's still a good listen to. I'm not putting it down. I'm going to go listen to it again. You know what I mean? Just to kind of re-educate myself with their thoughts and their ideas. But then what really kind of triggered me is when I started, and not triggered, I'm using that. I'm losing that loosely.
I'm triggered this episode.
I don't know if I would do that, right? But they're just starting to take down. Oh, we went through our store and these guys aren't getting the views and all this kind of. You know what? I think maybe tweak your prices, maybe tweak your title before you start taking this stuff down, discarding it. However, but anyway. I was just watching a lot of YouTube, buddy. A lot of YouTube last night. I was up till 4 a.m, just couldn't sleep. And then I watched and all three of these shows kind of together, kind of like, what are you guys doing? Why am I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? When I watch all three of them together. And then she's talking about buying your items at $5 a piece. And she was making it easy math. I honestly, dude, I probably know less about eBay than any other reseller out there. I truly admit that. I don't care. I'm gonna find something that's sold like mine. I'm gonna kind of tweak their title a little bit. I'm just gonna sell similar. I'm gonna add my own little template in there, put my own price in there, and then put 10%. What is that? Promoted listings, and then I hit, list. I am so far from knowledgeable in algorithms and all that kind of stuff. It don't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to make my money on the sale. And my biggest bugaboo, my biggest issue is consistent listing. And when I consistently list, I consistently sell. That's honestly, that's just the nature of what I've learned. Outside of that, this guy could be totally right, but I'm still doing something right. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Carl, you've done that to me before. I know you did. Shut the hell up. Shut up.
No,
But
no, I agree.
honestly,
I think
people, if you bog yourself down with too much,
I'm saying what works for you, right? Like,
yeah, find it out.
right?
Find out, man.
Because for other people, making a buck each item really works because they're pumping 1,000 items out every hour, right? As though you can't, it's a different market. Like, some of the most successful people are the people buying things for 20,000 and selling them for 30,000. Like, so you have to be a little careful with the numbers, right?
See, I that's not me. That's not.
I know. That's what
That
I'm
is not
saying.
what I'm
You're
like.
not. That's not you. But your buddy there, right? Who showed you a lot of these things, right? He works at the higher end of the market, so he's probably a very different ratio of the buy price to the sell price.
To a degree, his return on investment is going to be a lot less too, right? Like he's working on like 10% or 5%. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's not my strategy. That I don't like that. You know what I mean?
10% could be
because there's anything
$1,000,
wrong
right?
with it. I like going into a house and finding like that Seiko watch or that old
yeah, but you're a bottom feeder.
What's that?
Yeah. Oh, I tried to sneak that one through.
What'd you say? I didn't even hear you.
I said you're a bottom feeder. I was trying to sneak that one through,
dude,
you heard it right away.
I am the bottomest feeder. I come.
You're the catfish of the reselling world.
I am the guy that picks up the crumbs. I've said that many times. I am the crumb guy.
I was just playing with you. I was hoping to sneak that one in. You would hear it in the replay.
Dude, I've said that. I am the crumb guy. If I'm going to an auction.
Right. Yeah, but which is the fish that people actually want to catch? They want the trout, man. Top of the line.
I don't know. Trout.
I think this off the rails.
I am the carp. I am the carp.
The carp.
Listen. I have the perfect recipe for eating carp. You know how do you cook and eat carp properly? Oh. So what you do is you take the carp and you got to clean it. You got to clean the guts out, and then you put it on a pine board, and then you cover it with maple syrup. Flip it over. Right? You cover the pine board with maple syrup. You cover the carp with maple syrup. You put it in the oven or barbecue, whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. And you cook it until it's fully cooked, not burnt, just nice and caramelized maple syrup. And then you get there and you get it all smelling good and just nice and fishy and everything like this. And then you take the carp, throw it in the garbage, and eat the pine board.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh man,
that's how you eat carp.
That's how you eat carp.
Yeah. Oh, so, anyways, dude, I am totally the carp guy. I don't care. I am coming in for the crumbs. I will feed off the bottom because that's where you get.
So, would you rather have 10% of $10,000 or 80% of $100?
Well, I don't work like that. I work on it like I like to go out and find things that are hidden gems. I like to it's I don't know. I almost want to take a camera out. But if you go into a private pick and these people just want to get rid of stuff, and like I'm that guy. Like if I'm going into,
and that's why it works well with your friend because you're working at different levels of the prime stuff that you're interested in. So it works out, right?
So
it's like if I went to an estate sale,
what would you call prime? Would you call that Dodge Charger $500?
I sell the stuff that's selling $500 plus, maybe $1,000 plus.
Oh,
I'm not saying you wouldn't be interested in getting that stuff cheap. I'm just saying if the $1,000 thing was $700, you're walking away. I think.
Well, I paid $5,000 for those toy soldiers.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing,
isn't it? I don't know.
It's not. You didn't pay 70% of the value of the soldiers.
I did not pay 70%.
So that
at all.
Therefore it's not the same thing.
So
we have to be careful. Sarcastic Carl's starting to come out. I usually keep him I try to keep him low and like bundled up, but he's starting to come through a little bit here. I have to be careful.
I don't even know what that means. Like we're having
an ass. I'm afraid I'm going to start becoming an ass. So maybe we should no.
Okay. Why would you become an ass? I don't
know.
But you're right. If he's selling it for 70%, if he's making the 30% or 10% or 5% is really what they go for. If he's making
Sure.
more, he's making more. But he sells it differently too. He does not do eBay, right?
But
He
that's what
does
I'm
all his
saying.
stuff a different way.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anything in his house.
Is he suffering financially, or is he doing okay?
Oh, dude.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. I win.
You win what? We're having a conversation. What are we discussing about? Well, I don't know. What are you
I'm just
winning?
saying there's different ways to skin a cat. How about that?
Yeah, okay. So are we talking about different ways to skin a cat, or are we talking about I'm talking about the way I do things and what I like to do. I'm not
Wasn't
saying
that
he's
skinning the
wrong.
cat?
He's totally doing a good job.
I
Why?
know. That's what I'm saying. I don't even know what we're arguing about.
I'm not arguing. I didn't think we were arguing. You're just saying, oh, I win. Well, what do you?
Oh man,
Dude, he's one
I
of
blame Randy.
he's one of those guys that if I need a question, he's there.
Yeah. No, it's great.
When I see what he's doing,
yeah,
he's awesome. But he has different contacts. He has different sources of selling. I don't have those contacts. If I went and tried to do what he sell the way he does, people are going to look at me like I'm an idiot, right? Because they don't. Who are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like in the markets that he's in, it sounds like it's really important of who you know and who knows you.
I think in everything it is, right?
But
like
even more so in that higher end market where there's a lot of trust going on, right? I think it's a different end. Like for you when you buy stuff, right?
I don't know. I don't know if that even
that's true. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Like I don't even see that. What it is he was at a young age of 20, 25, something in there. He was in the right place at the right time and got hooked up with these people who are really high end antique dealers, right? And he was kind of mentored by them. So he was showing different ways of selling things. Like if you have like a real $1 million painting, you're not going to sell it on eBay, I don't think. From the group of 7, like a Tom Thompson or something that's worth $500,000, or a Maud Lewis or something like that. You're not going to sell it that way. You're probably going to sell it to someone else who's connected to someone or to you yourself who was into that.
Exactly making what I was saying though. That's exactly what I said. That concept is much more important at that level.
Okay. So, but I've never disagreed with anything that you said.
Oh, good. I'm right.
I'm just saying, comparing what I do to what he does. Like I'm not in that world.
No.
So I can't even.
Neither am I, of course. Yeah.
But I can't even. Like it would take me years to probably even have credibility to even be in that world. I don't know. Look at it this way: I could go into a house and I could see a cupboard, an old cupboard. And I'm like, wow, that's going to have value. Is it going to have $100? If it's going to have $10,000, I don't know. I could see a rug. Like I bought a rug at this estate sale he was at. Called him over and I said, what do you think of this rug? I said, I think it's $150, $200 rug. I said, what do you think? He goes, yeah, you're right. I had to ask him because it's an old carpet. It's an old rug. Like it's like a floor mat. But some of those ones, especially if they have like an animal on them, like a beaver or a cat or something but it's old from the 1800s, it can be worth thousands of dollars. Everything at this house was like pretty much old. I would say 80% was old. It was an antique thing. Most of it was out before I even got there, but he was well known to be in the antique in that group. So I'm not 100% what I'm dealing with. I'm thinking in my mind, because most stuff is cleared out, that all that good stuff is already gone. You know what I mean? However, I did find a figure behind a wall that is about 3 inches big.
Dude, that was funny. I didn't really get that. Yeah.
And it turns out that it could be a bronze Bergman. It's French.
It looked like cold painted metal.
Right. For sure. It's when you dig down deeper and everything beyond the name, it ends up to be like a lead, and it is painted.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess you're talking because you saw it on my show on Sunday.
Yeah.
Go look out. Go look what those things go for.
Oh, I believe, like I said, it
So
looked like cold
so
milk. Yeah,
but so my point is
right.
that there are things that can get overlooked or missed, just not even seen. If you look up in the ceilings down in the basement, because they usually don't have any drop ceiling or anything, it's usually just board. You never know what you're going to find stuck up in those places. You know what
You're
I
a
mean?
digger. You're definitely a digger. You've mentioned that.
So what I'm saying is things can get missed. So I had to ask
Mm.
him about the rug because it might have been laying in plain sight. Like it's at the front door and people are walking over it. I grabbed it, put it right in my pile. You know what I mean? So because it's old, it's Canadian, it's got maple leaves in it, different things like that. So um
How much did you pay for the rug? Just out of curiosity.
I paid
Oh, you used the group part price. Yeah.
I
Okay.
did a group price.
Yeah.
I paid $200 for everything.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I went back and I bought 2 side tables for $75. But in that group, I have a box of uh old because this guy was doing he would repair cabinets and different things too, right? Like refinish them, the old stuff. So he passed away. He's almost 80 years old. So he's done this years ago, right? Um, I grabbed a box, Carl. Like this box was all knobs, porcelain knobs, wood knobs, like brass knobs. They're all old stuff for like $20. Like, what are you asking for that? $20. Boom. Put it in the pile. Then I do an overall thing. But in that tub, honestly, dude, there could be $500 worth of stuff in there. There's so much stuff in there. You know what I mean? But it was just a tray, like it wasn't a tote, but it was a plastic kind of box with tons of this stuff in it. So I guess kind of my point is that you never know what you're going to find, even though it's been picked hard. You're going to find some really good stuff. So if there's any Bakelite knobs in there, they could go very high. You know what I mean? So people redoing cabinets and stuff like that want that stuff, right? They might even have a cabinet that they're not redoing, but they might want to change the knobs to a Bakelite or to a porcelain.
Well, you're an
So,
expert on knobs. I'll give you that.
well, I know you, so yeah. The knob. But anyway, so I'm just all I'm saying is I don't even know what I'm saying. All I'm saying is I am not running with those groups. I can only run with myself. You know what I mean? And I look after
Hey,
what
it's
I
definitely
know
working too. So what can
in
I say?
knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
I have a good buy and I got to pay $5,000, but I think it's well worth it, I'm gonna pull the trigger. But would I've liked to have gotten that for 1,000 or $500? Absolutely, absolutely. You know what I mean? So, but I'm the crumb picker, and then once you that's my new channel, the crumb picker,
The crumb picker.
the crumb picker. That actually right, beaver picker, crumb picker.
Oh no.
But anyway, I don't know. I'm kind of digressing, but I like finding the gems in diamonds in the rough. I guess is what it is. So, all right. So we get into the comments, Carl, because we're gonna have to fly through them now. I
Oh
think
man,
we're gonna have to heavy edit the beginning of this because this is where the excitement
it's
was.
funny how I got like going and then you got going there. It's
Well,
energy. We didn't need that
because
today.
because I'm
You're
gonna
passionate
wait.
about this stuff, right?
Well, not really. I just don't want to
Yeah.
be misunderstood, and for you to think and say that I
It'll be
don't like
interesting to
the
listen to
the
this again.
30% or 10% or 5% way of doing things. I don't have a problem with that. It's just not my thing because I'm not in that world. I'm in
Oh
the
right,
world
yeah,
of yard sales. I'm in the
right.
world of getting to those estate picks by those people after they've gone through it and picked all those things. Because I'm the guy that's gonna pick up the Charmin toilet paper from 1970, and they're gonna laugh at me, and I'm gonna go on eBay and sell it for $60. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm the guy that's going in there, and I'm gonna find this dusty old little nude figure from probably the 1950s type era, and I'm gonna research it and find out that this might be something really interesting. You know what I mean? Like, and if not, I paid nothing for it, and I'll sell it at the booth for $20. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's important to remember where your passions are and use that to your advantage, right? because you're not going to get excited if you saw, let's say, a case of brand new, I don't know, phone cases, right? Are you going to even look? Probably not, right? Because it's just
Well,
doesn't excite you.
I picked up soles from the shoes.
No phone. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'll give you
And
that.
I'm selling,
That's
I
true.
don't know,
Oh yeah,
couple every other week type thing.
yeah, I
So
forgot about that. Yeah, no,
yeah,
that's a good point.
yeah. I'll pick up anything. It's just if it makes sense financially, I paid $100 for 100. I two of them got my money back, and now I'm selling them, and I got 167
I
of those
sit
things.
corrected. I was totally wrong.
Yeah, I know. Just
Oh man.
other people need to know. But like I'll pick up books, I'll
Yeah.
pick up DVDs because I have an outlet for DVDs. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
can search them real quickly, find the gems, VHS tapes, all that kind of stuff. They're
Mhm.
easy to discard, they're very cheap to buy, and I can throw them in the booth and make a couple bucks on some of the ones that are only worth a couple bucks, right? As long as they're not taking up enough room. And I'm talking like $4 for horror movie DVDs. I'll make that out of the booth. I put them in a tote. People pick them. You yourself even said that's kind of a bread and butter for your booth, right? People love those things.
Yeah, at least usually sell one or two.
Yeah,
So it's easy.
I have it where people come in and buy 10 at a time, right? Like, there's never really a day. We're open 5 days a week. I guarantee you, I sell DVDs either 1 to 10, sometimes more, very rarely, but let's say 1 to 10, 4 of the 5 days a week. They just come in and it sits in a tote, and I just keep filling a couple of totes up. You know,
Exactly. And let's be clear, DVDs are not exactly rocking the world in terms of returns. It's just that they're the definition of bread and butter, and easy.
like die-cast cars, like the newer ones.
Yeah.
If I was selling on eBay alone, I wouldn't touch them. But if I could get them for $5 or less, I put them in the booth for 20, $25. They always sell.
Yeah.
Always. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And every now and then you'll get one that's worth $60, $80, $100.
Yeah, you
And
have that.
I can still put those ones in the booth, like a nice Earl, Barracuda, Dodge Charger. I could put those ones in there for 80 to 100, I think $110, that kind of thing, out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
If they're in good condition, no broken mirrors, no big scratches or anything like that, they'll sell out of the booth. So I can pick that kind of stuff up, right? So it's just, I don't know. I like what works for me. I'm not really defending it. I'm kind of defending the other people a little bit in a weird way. I'm trying to say, like, be a little bit more confident. Like, don't just listen to someone and then discard everything that you've tried or do. Like, maybe some of those things got to be lauded up or something. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Some people just want the answer. They don't want to think.
All right, Carl. So should we, after we've calmed down here, should we
Yes.
Get to the comments?
Sure. I'll start with Randy. Hi, Scott and Carl. Great idea, Scott, in displaying the books like comics. The 1960s to 70s horror, science fiction, and fantasy paperbacks have fantastic cover art. Just listed on eBay, The Flesh Eaters with Frank Frazetta, who I actually love as an artist, cover. It is awesome. Carl, you can keep all the Skylanders. I have 40 plus on the shelf for over 3 years, and they laugh at me when I walk past. Show is always entertaining. Randy. Oh, thanks, Randy.
Yeah, I love the cover art on those old sci-fi things. I think that's just crazy good. Like, I don't know. I just all that is awesome. I agree.
I saw a great display unit for sale for $40 where you could like have all the magazines all racked up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If it wasn't so large, and if I had a way of picking it up, I totally would have got that, because I think you're right. I think that's a great way for people to flip through that stuff.
Yeah,
it's a really good way of selling things.
We have Tina Mack on the Spotify channel with a comment here, and it is another great episode. Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
And she goes on with, I'd love a Bolo show if you ever need ideas. Now, I think did we do a Bolo show before?
We did a couple. You did medals. I did postcards.
Were they really, was that really a Bolo show though? Or was it something that,
oh, you're right.
It's something that we sell in, right? So
the category,
I think we could do a Bolo show.
A Bolo show, yeah.
So we won't we won't do it next week because I don't know how much time I'm going to need, but probably the week after, Carl, if you're good with that. Because I'll have to research different things and different ideas and write it down and maybe talk about it a little bit. So I don't want it to, hey guys, we got a Bolo show and then it doesn't show up. So let's
we should do the research first and then say we're going to do the show, because we're not the best at doing research before the show.
I'm pretty good at it. Like I'm a researcher.
Yeah. Well, you got the glasses for it.
Wow. Because I'm old, I can't see otherwise.
All right, Tina.
So that was Tina Mack. Thank you, Tina, for the comment.
Okay. Do you want to do Dawn's here? I'll do Dawn's.
Okay. Or we can alternate paragraphs.
Sure.
You do one page, I'll do another. It's like
we'll see how it goes. So, now I feel silly for not grabbing all the Man from Uncle books I saw at the London Library sale last week. Damn it. Well, yeah, that happens to all of us. I don't often look things up at these things because it's so crowded and things get snatched up so fast. Silly me. Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry.
I'm trying to look up things less nowadays because that's something I do a lot. I used to do a lot.
Well, I think the booth helps me where I don't have to look it up because I can pretty much have an idea that whether it's going to sell or not. For how much, I don't know. But like the Man from Uncle, like there was all 23 volumes was there, like the full set, I guess, 23 books. I actually put them in the booth. There was a couple that had, and I'm probably worried about it too much because I've seen way worse condition, but there was a couple that had near the bottom of the spine was just kind of like fraying a little bit, I guess you would say, like about, I don't know, a centimeter high. It was kind of, like corner bumping type stuff, but it was kind of worn. So I put all of them in the booth for $60. Or 65, something like that. So I'm going to see if they'll sell there. If not, I'll put them back online. But I just didn't want to separate them right now. But if I had to, there's some that are going like had sold comps for $30. You know what I mean? So it just gets into like craziness. But most of them were around probably $15, which to me is not that area where I want to put them on eBay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would rather, and this is going to sound weird and I don't want to go into a rabbit hole conversation on this, but honestly, I'd rather put it in the booth for $5 than to list it on eBay for 15. By the time you get your commission and you put your boxing and all that kind of stuff, you're not making much more, right? So,
no.
All right. She's got a little subliminal message. Next line.
Toy soldiers.
Toy soldiers. All right.
I think the Ingersoll Pumpkin Fest. Is that no? I said
Ingersoll is a small little town, probably about 40 minutes from me, and that's probably close to her.
Pumpkin Fest is coming, but I don't know if I'll be there or not. This weekend is the Great Canadian Butter Tart Festival in Paris, but I have to miss it again this year because I absolutely need to get more listings up ASAP. My sales have tanked so hard lately. I realize that Q4 doesn't often apply to ephemera, but still. I wish we could remove shipping to certain provinces, territories, like we could block Alaska and Hawaii. Well, you can do that if you sell on .ca, but .com you can't. I forget Scott had a cockatiel or two. I can hear him in the background. They are such sweet birds.
They're two cockatiels and they're both female.
Toy soldiers.
Yeah, we have two cockatiels here. They're quiet today. I don't know why. Hopefully they're not laying upside down with their feet in the air.
Jesus. Okay. Mr. Magazine isn't doing Whatnot himself. He's got his staff doing it all the time, though, and loving the results. I've heard of Philly Flipper, but I don't follow him. But I think a lot of bigger YouTubers end up getting hate regardless of the category niche. It's almost like a rite of passage or something. It's one reason I am not on YouTube. I had thin skin. I remember when I used to do my lives, I had my first troll. I was so happy because I hadn't had one yet.
Yeah, I remember a couple of live shows we had trolls in there.
Yeah.
It's
pretty rare though.
Yeah.
But But when it starts affecting someone's business, like, why are people like that? Because people like to be mean, unfortunately. If you don't want to keep watching someone, just unsubscribe. It's one thing to make comments with valid concerns and being respectful about something they've said or done, but don't buy from someone just to bring his feedback rating down. That's some petty bullshit. Yeah. I used to worry that when I first started, but then I realized no one cared about my channel. Toy soldiers.
Toy soldiers.
I don't think people have to have YouTube channels to be successful and whatnot, but it certainly helps. Yeah, I think we both agree on that. That said, I think the people who have shows on a consistent, regular basis are the ones who develop their whatnot following. I think a lot of the people who complain about not selling much on whatnot are the ones who haven't put in that work. Paperboy might get lower prices for things than he could on eBay. I suppose everybody probably does. But he's kept at it for over 2 years now. Minimum twice a week at the same time, same days. And I think that's made the biggest difference. I haven't been on whatnot in a long time because I end up spending so much more than I think I'm spending after shipping, etc. Even with using Shipsy to bring things across the border. But you guys make a good point too about using a local auction house on high bid. If you're able to, just do it yourself on there or on Max Sold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do Max Sold. I don't like people showing up to my house. I had a local pickup the other day, and it freezes me for the entire day. So it's weird. I know with Max Sold you gain tons of people, but
like whatnot is interesting idea, but if it's going to take a year or so to get that traction and that following, I'm just not into it. And like, let's say I was to do my toll soldiers, by the time I got through 50% or 75% of them at such a low rate, just to make more on the other end. Like, so what I'm saying is, like, sure, I get that following after a couple of years, but it's going to be a tough grind. And I'd rather just sell it on eBay or through the booth or take it to local auction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
I'd probably be the guy that puts too much crap at the beginning and fails to bring in that good group of buyers for the good stuff, because I'm so afraid of losing values on the good stuff at the beginning. So I couldn't do it. I know they sell a lot of plush and stuff like that. So I don't know who's buying all this plush. Like, they just buy up a bunch of plush and then they just keep selling it off. So I don't know.
I don't get it. I think it's not for us.
It's not for me, for sure.
Yeah. De minimis is the term you're looking for with shipping, Carl. And I hope we don't get screwed over it either. Also, Canada Post might go on strike, which is very concerning, especially this time of year. Didn't they strike 2 years ago? Yeah, I think someone else had a comment. Yeah, Randy has a comment, so we'll talk about that strike there. Toy soldiers. I could have sworn I left a comment the week before last, then I thought I missed your response or something. Oh well, here I am. Yeah, a couple of people talked about that. Their comments disappearing. Still no links. Yeah. Well, what do you have to say for yourself, Scotty? Did you put a link on the last live Sunday show like you said you were going to do immediately?
Chirp, 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 chirp. Yeah. Chirp, chirp. There's crickets. I don't know if I'm cricket. Chirp, chirp, chirp.
I'll just keep going.
I don't know. I'm trying to sound like a cricket, but I can't.
New drinking game. Whenever Scott says, "Know what I mean?" we'll all be dead. Laugh a low, joking. Actually, Carl, you're saying that more now too.
Wait a second. Hang on.
Double that.
Whenever Scott says, "Know what I mean?" I say that a lot.
I say a whole bunch of stuff too. Is like you don't even realize you're doing it either, right? I didn't even realize you're saying know what I mean. I know what I took on was 100%, 100%, 100%. It's like shut up, 100%. Okay.
Carl, well, it's just funny when we read these comments. You know what I mean, Carl?
Yeah, I know what you mean, 100%.
All right. I'll check into that. I don't know. Now I'm gonna be all soft conscious every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Carl, put your beans in the booth. That's not happening. I honestly don't think there's a huge market for that stuff at this flea market. At least not for my booth. So I think if you have a lot, like say I had a ton of toys, right?
Yeah.
Then it's worth putting in my booth because then I have like a whole wall of like vintage toys. But putting them, one shelf here or pieces over here, I think it doesn't. You need a bit of a theme sometimes in the booth. Like you can have like one of a kind unique items, right? But for some things, they work better when you have a whole theme. I
Yeah.
think. Do you know what I mean? Like for tarot cards, right?
Well, I mean, how niche down do you get to a theme? Do I get to a theme of antiques? Do I get to the theme of VHS, or do I get the theme of pulp culture,
Things
which
that belong
encompasses
together, right? Like if you have VHS tapes and DVDs, you probably put them in the same area, right?
right?
If you had records and you had tapes and you had audio cassettes, you're probably going to put them in the same area, right?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
So I find that helps sell things is when if you can, it's not necessary. Like, and I'm not selling anything. So what the hell am I talking about? But I honestly find that when I theme things up, there's more interest than like say I had one brass bell.
So you get two people to your booth instead of one?
Yeah, I know. And I'm rushed. I'm rushed
kidding.
off my feet.
No. No, I mean, I do that too. I'll put my books kind of together.
Yeah.
I might put the odd one, like if it's something unique, it's about like Ontario ghost hunting or something like that, or it's an older piece or something. I might set it up on a stand and put it on a shelf somewhere else so it stands out. But for the most part, yeah, the books go with the books, comics go with the comics, records go with the records, and I'm actually even going to the point where most pulp culture-ish DVDs, everything, action figures, all that kind of stuff in my upstairs booth, and the more general like antique kind of stuff, vintage, is going in the downstairs. So
it just looks better. It looks better too.
Yeah, and you're appealing to different people. So I'm kind of contradicting what I've said before, where I like to draw everybody into my booth and have a little bit of something for everybody, and that is true.
Yeah.
No, I try to do that, but for the most part, I'm keeping all that kind of stuff in the same store, but throwing them into different areas of the store.
That's why I want a bigger booth, because like I have some good tools, but I don't want to put like one great tool on my table. So Randy says, may I suggest a topic? Canada Post may be on strike early November. Do you have a workaround? More options are available in Ontario as compared to rural Nova Scotia. Yeah, so I've been getting the emails just like everyone else. There's a new information every day. They're saying like they're just got one yesterday said that they're putting things in the contract that they get bonuses, I guess, if they agree to the contract. They have to give 72 hours notice after they have decided to go on strike. So the question is, do I have a workaround? Not really. Because, like, I guess UPS and FedEx, that would be the workaround, but they're going to get slammed by everyone all at the same time. We had the reshippers, but often, like Chit Chats, but often those companies use Canada Post, so that's not really an escape either. I might put my stuff on vacation mode and wait to strike out. I know that I don't have a golden ticket, solution to this.
Yeah. I'm gonna say probably I'm just gonna focus on the booth. Maybe look at tidying things up. I'll probably have to do a vacation mode type thing as well. Usually the strikes don't last that long, so probably isn't going to go more in a week or two. You know what I mean? It is going to be a pain in the butt, but I think if you have different avenues of reselling, which I've talked about in the past, which is good for me, I can concentrate on the booth, and I know it'll do well. Maybe list some stuff on Facebook Marketplace. Maybe just try to do that kind of stuff. I agree with you. FedEx is going to get bombarded, and I don't trust them enough to be, okay, if it's a $20 item, $50 item, that's, I should say $50 or less item. But just kind of thinking of it offhand, I think I'd probably just try to wait the couple weeks out and see what happens.
Yeah, I think I was going to say you could drive things across the border, but you probably need an export permit for that. So it's not that simple.
Well, if that was an option, it wouldn't be for me because I'm too far. Because by the time I drive there and back and drop it off, like it just wouldn't. It just
take a motorboat across Lake Erie, no problem.
Dude, I haven't got time to go into that can of horrors, but there is an episode if you go on YouTube where a guy did that and he was dressed up as a terrorist with I think he had Ebola or something written on this canvas bag, and nobody stopped him. He just walked right onto the shores of Erie.
Oh my god!
Did you ever see that?
No.
Look it up on YouTube. It's kind of funny. I don't know if it's like staged or if he really did, but apparently he drove right across from here to there. Like, it's a wonder he didn't get like hammered or something. Idiots. But he just got off the boat and walked right down the street.
Do you want to read the last one from Doing It Wrong?
Doing it wrong. Scott, if you did proper triage, you would be sitting around with random 80 to 100 kidding inboxes. I'm doing it wrong. I know. So the problem is, like, it when it rains it pours type theory. Like, there'll be times where, maybe it's a couple weeks and I can kind of go and get things tidied up, and then all of a sudden I'll get hit with a whole bunch of product. You know what I mean? I don't have time to go through it. So my mindset is probably different than a lot of people's. Once they get a certain amount, they're not going to buy until they get through that. My mindset is, if it's raining, I'm going to get the buckets out and collect as much rain as possible. And that's because I'm a bit of a digger. I like finding that item, right? Like, so, a lot of people might think that's the wrong way to do it. That's fine. But I just can't stop. And it's easier just to set it in the box in a garage and get to it later. And of course, you end up having a lot of stuff around the house or in front of the garage.
Yeah, that's my problem. I have a lot of things in that category of, like, I triaged it. It's like, it needs to be counted. It needs to be tested. And I need to research it, get shoved into a corner, and 5 years pass. Like, that's my Achilles heel.
And the way I do it too, I'm not going to go and test things and then put it away. Like, I'll put, like, video game consoles and stuff, like, I'll just put it on a shelf and pile it up and stuff like that. And when I'm ready to list it, I'll test it then.
I have that stuff for video games. Like, I have a list of, like, buy a bunch, and then theoretically, after a while, I'll actually make sure they work and set up the systems. But theoretically, has not come around yet.
And I tend to do things kind of like in groups, like not necessarily all of them, but like, let's say I'm going to do a bunch of video games. I'll kind of start looking at them at the same time, and I'll put them in piles. Like, okay, this needs to be surfaced. This one's fine. This one's going to the booth. This one's going to be in a pile for auction. This can go online, that kind of thing. I'll do the same thing with CDs, DVDs, that kind of thing too as well. And then next time I get a chance, I'll clean all those discs all at the same time. Or, I'll list the DVDs that don't have scratches on them or put them in the booth. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's when you're eclectic and you have a variety of whole bunch of different things, sometimes it's not black and white like that to me.
No,
you know what I mean?
An argument for niching down too, is that you have less things.
Yeah, but if I'm niching down, I'm not having fun. I feel like I'm missing stuff.
Me too.
Right? So, I mean, that's not an option for me. I can only do what's options for me is. And do I niche away? Well, I don't know if that's even a saying or a word, but, like, I'm not picking up cornflower glass anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's things that I will stay away from. Sure, it sells in the booth, but it's so little, it takes up so much space, and half the time it breaks chips, all this other kind of stuff. So it's, unless I find an odd piece that maybe I can get $20 for the most part, I'm just staying away from that kind of stuff. But, but I enjoy picking a variety, like from lighters to watches to, die-cast cars to DVDs to, like, toy soldiers to, like, I'll pick everything, right?
I'd get bored if I niche down, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Unless it was cat collars.
Yeah, well, everyone wants cat
collars. So anyway, okay, really though, something you might want to try out is videoing your listing process and hiring your audience and having your audience point out place where you can trim time. Doing it wrong, first thing I got to do is turn off the TV to trim time, stop going down these rabbit holes. But I put it this way. There's definitely ways I can improve. I know that. And I'm always trying to tweak the improvements, but honestly, I still want to have fun doing it. So if I can put a good old movie on in the background and maybe stray away for 10 minutes now and then, or go have a coffee, or that's what's I'm enjoying it. You know what I mean? There are times where I need to hunker down and really, okay, now I got to get this stuff listed. So it's I get it doing it wrong. You're more right than I am, but at the same time, I kind of doing it the way I enjoy it. I wouldn't want it to become too much of a job, although it is a job. If it had to be, that's a different story, right? Like I could turn it on, I'm sure. But right now, it's honestly, it's doing okay. Like,
you're doing well. You have nothing to complain about, right?
I'm not complaining, right? Like, as soon as it stops doing well, I'm totally hunkering down, figuring out what's going on, because I don't want to have to go back to Toyota. I will if I have to, but I don't want to.
Yeah, but I agree with doing it wrong too. It's like I'm sure there's.
I totally agree. He's more right than I am. It's just I just want to have fun with it too.
Yeah. Not make yourselves machines, but I know, like for example, when I list, if I'm really not into it, I'll do one at a time, which is the opposite of what you should do, right? Like I'll take pictures for one item, move the pictures over, comp the one item, list the one item. That is so inefficient. But sometimes that's the only way to get me going.
Yeah.
That's me. You can be different, right? Everyone's different. But I
think I do it the same. You say take photos, comp one item, list it, and then go back to do another item. That's kind of how I do it.
Yeah. But he's right. Like the other one is like
he's totally right,
sure. Where people do store critiques. And it's like, I know they could go into my store and they'll find my crappiest items and they'll go like, you're doing this one dumb. And it's like, yeah, but I listed that 5 years ago and or I was off that day, or it's interesting though. Like that's a pretty I wanted to mention that because someone else mentioned that doing store critiques, and it's like that's pretty brave putting yourself out there because they're gonna find all the odds. That's the thing I used to find when I was watching those from other people. It's like they could do like 98% of the listings are one way and 2% of the bad way, and they'll critique the 2%, and that used to bug me.
Well, so I am going to go through my store a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But for a whole different reason. Okay. First of all, I have the booth. So there are some things that I think I can get a certain value out of the store. And if they're not getting that on eBay, or it's taking a little bit longer, like there's a Garfield clock that's broken. It's a beautiful mirror, but I don't think I can show it in pictures the way it would display in person. So I'm thinking about moving that to the booth. I've said that before. I take things from the booth, put it on eBay to the booth. So I am going to go through my store and pick out those type of items. There was even one, I talked about this in the past, where I kind of listed at both places, but I really was a little cautious. Booth and online, and it sold out of the booth. And it was that large metal skeleton of a pike.
Do you remember? I vaguely remember that.
Yeah. So, but it sold within within a week, less than a week in the booth. And I had it for a couple months online. So I might try to do that. Just I don't even know when I'm going to do it. But if I'm going to do that might be something I do. I know there's a few figures and stuff like that are probably something that was priced during the pandemic. They were my earlier listings that are probably still kicking around.
Well, what everyone should do is go to Scotty's eBay store and feel free to send him criticism for the next episode.
Yeah, so, I 100%. I would absolutely love people to go in there and check out my photos and my listings and tell me how good I am.
So who are you on eBay? You're open that with that, right?
You didn't hear me.
You don't hide that. Yeah, I didn't hear you. I was stuck listening. 2 hours, man. I already got so much attention.
Dude, honestly, I'm very happy with my pictures. I probably take more time at it than other people, but I enjoy just
your pictures are great. The
I've
pictures are
tried to
great.
see how good I can get stuff and the lighting and all that kind of stuff. But um but there's definitely, like, you know what? There's something I think it's still in the store. I have to go check. But it was one of those gremlins, the crazy ones,
Yeah.
like Spike or something.
Yeah.
Like I think I got $30 on it, and it's, I don't know if it's overvalued or people just aren't seeing it now because it's been there for so long. But I think I get $20 easily out of the booth on it. So why sit on that money? Why not just take it to the booth and put it? It takes up no room. You know what I mean? So little things like that. Um, I've kind of, I think we change, we mature as we get older. So I think as we get older on eBay, we're just reselling in general, we're going to change a little bit. The market changes all the time. So I
I'm
think,
definitely more careful with my titles, where I used to take someone else's title and not really look at it too much, and now I double look at it. So
for sure. And I think there's things in there that I'm going to switch up, and probably things in there I might not list. And there's honestly, there's a lot of things too that I listed back then because I had no care about them. And the stuff that when I first started, I was a little bit concerned about listing on eBay because I was worried about that big scam thing. But now I'm more open to listing on eBay because it's pretty decent. I've never really had too many issues, that kind of thing. So there's some things that maybe I listed in the past that I wouldn't put there now. I'd put in the booth because they're just too big and bulky, and I didn't really grasp that back then.
yeah,
There's probably many things that I listed when cost of shipping here in Canada was out of control. So I might put $20 shipping. It's not selling because of that, but now I could probably put $10 shipping because we have a different shipping charge too. So there's a lot of reasons why I should go back there and just kind of
that's why I like
monitor
shipping
the store.
policies. Yeah,
But I'm not going to do it because someone said something. You know what I mean? I'm going to do it because it needs to be. It just every now and then, it's like anything, it needs to be tidied up a little bit, and things change, and you got to change with the times, right? So
yeah. Just looking at your store right now, I like your thing here. Just arrived listing daily for the toy soldiers. That's pretty
oh,
cool.
that little advertisement
Yeah,
that
that's pretty
now
neat.
is outdated because I changed my listing habits.
I know, but it looks great.
It looks good, eh? Dude, when I put that up, they started crazy selling. Like it was crazy. That's what probably drew that guy in that bought a whole bunch of that stuff. So, and people aren't even just buying; they're asking me if I have this figure and that figure, and I'm like, listen, I bought so many of these on an estate sale, and I said I can only do one box at a time, and there's probably 40 to 60 boxes per box, and I have lots of boxes. So, okay, no problem. I'll keep looking, or I mean, they do ask sometimes to let me know, and okay, but I don't. I'm not going to remember. But
Wow, I have a lot of followers. Sorry, I distracted.
that's all right. That's
I
all
have
right.
221 followers, and you have 130. I'm kind of surprised. Why would I have more followers?
Because you've been list on eBay a lot longer.
Yeah, true. But you're much more like online, so
I'm
it's
much
kind of
more online,
well, like you do YouTube a hell of a lot more than I do, right?
dude. It's the same 25 people every week. Like, what?
Yeah, that's true. It's just,
Right?
sorry,
Which
I got
I'm not
I got
complaining because I
distracted.
love all
I
those
just
people that come on there every week. But it's the same. It's the same. It's all you same guys, like, and girls.
yeah,
But
it's just funny. It's like I didn't even realize I had that many followers. I wonder.
yeah, how long you been
Must have
doing
been,
eBay?
yeah, I have 4 times as much stuff sold as you, so that would do it.
But how long
That
you been
makes
doing
sense.
eBay?
I don't know, 5 years,
I've been doing it longer than that.
maybe. I've kind of lost track.
Well,
6 years. Not,
just I can tell you. I can go on you how long you've been on eBay. I can go
how
in
do you
there and
know? How do you
just
know?
go because
About?
huh?
Is it under about?
Yeah. Just
Oh,
go.
yeah, okay. That's not fair though, because like I've been on eBay for like umpteen years. Yeah,
Yeah.
2005, but I wasn't selling
I've
in
been. I think. I
2005.
think I went on eBay in 2021.
Yeah, but like I said, I wasn't selling.
Yeah.
That's when I created the account. Anyways,
But
I totally derailed us as I got distracted by your store. Your
that's all
pictures
right.
are great.
You just be willing to accept constructive criticism and implement what makes sense. No, I agree. Did I wait? You'll be able to list more efficiently without sacrificing quality. No, I doing it wrong. I think you're more right there than the way I'm doing it. I just enjoy doing what I'm doing it, and I don't really want to change, other than tweaking it now and then. But really, just maybe listing a few more items is really my goal right now. Is to pick up my listing, but it's really hard when I do so much sourcing. You know what I mean?
The only thing I can say is sometimes you'll watch someone do something you do all the time, and you see them do something that you didn't even know was possible, and it'll save you a ton of time. Say, I didn't know you could do that. Like,
yeah,
that's
but what?
But you don't know what it is until you comes up.
Yeah,
it's like you don't know what you don't know.
But all that time dealing with like putting that together and watching other things, like I think I watch enough YouTube. I watch Lonnie Candace, and I'll watch Craigslist Hunter and different things, and just kind of learn from that way. But I don't disagree. I just enjoy the way I'm doing it. You know what I mean?
I just remember when I used to list live, once in a while I get a comment say, I didn't know you could do that. Like, just because they're watching me list, right?
Did you see what I listed yesterday?
No.
See those plate toppers?
I hate the new interface on. So this is a side bitch, but like, it used to be that you could look at someone's complete store easily on .com, and they updated it, so it makes it more difficult now. That you can't just
.ca, dude. It's just 2 letters.
I know. You have to go to .ca is my point.
Yeah.
But see, remember, you didn't even know you could look at people's solds not that long ago. Do you remember that? So sometimes you don't know what you don't know. That's what I'm saying. There might be other stuff like that too. Right?
I don't know.
Right? Okay, visit store. See, look how long it's taking me to get here. And then I got to click on one of your items.
Don't click
random one. And then I got to go sellers, other items.
I always found that doesn't necessarily bring you to the store, though, or something. There was something fishy about doing that.
There's something funny with this place. So you did the peanut butter squirrel thing.
Yeah. But did you see the plate toppers? There should be a shell gas, like a shell.
Those are plate toppers. I didn't even know that was a plate topper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You go $350 for the one.
I see $50 or $60.
Yeah, for the shell one. Look for
the Imperial one.
Imperial. Yeah. But those things you have to pretty much. There are ones on Etsy for $335. Is that crazy petrol automobile service station, among many, many other things, but it's crazy what people will pay for that kind of stuff. But I think I put $350, but if somebody offered like $300, $325, something like that, that's probably right in line with what I should be taking. So,
right.
But you would see that probably at a garage in someone's yard sale, and
throw it in the recycler.
Would you grab it? Would you pick it up?
Oh, I would know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how much to pay. Right? Like, if someone asked $200 for that, it might be a good deal, but I wouldn't know that's a good deal or not. So,
and then the shotgun shell case,
heavy load.
That one, I don't know for sure, but when I researched it was from 1927, 1930 era.
Well, the text looks like from that time period.
Yeah. But it could also be 1940s. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to really. 1927 and 40s is kind of a big difference. But that would be like ephemera.
Someone sold it for $45 on an online auction.
Yeah. Somebody also sold it for like $80 or $100 or something like that at one point too.
Google Lens is so powerful on desktop. Like, often I do that now, eh?
Yeah.
Like, I'll bring up I'll take photos with my phone. It goes on Google Photos. I'll go into Google Photos on the desktop, do Google Lens, and then look from there. It's pretty fast.
So what do I have on it? I think I have $45.
Yeah, 50. So
50. Okay,
in the right range.
Yeah, because there's none available right now, too, right? So I bumped it up $5 from that 45. If it was in better condition, I would ask a lot more. Probably go for $100 if it was in a lot better condition. But it was stored in a garage, so it's kind of got that garagey, greasy kind of feel to it. So, but there's none available. So I put $50 on there. So, but if somebody offered me 40, run it out the door.
Awesome.
But all right, dude. I think that's gonna bring it to an end today.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for listening. It's only 2 hours and something.
Yeah, but the dogs barked a few times, so I will have to cut that out.
That bit out. Okay. Hopefully we'll get to about 2 hours.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks everybody for the comments. We are here every Friday in Spotify or YouTube, audio only, Reseller Evolution. And thanks so much everyone for the comments. I really enjoyed the comments. And just to be clear, doing it wrong, you are right. You are more right than I am. I just enjoy. That's all I'm saying. So I just wanted to make sure that comment is clear. I totally agree with you. Carl, not so much. Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone. Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
I'm just kidding to you too, Carl.
I know.
All right. Yes, for sure. Thanks for listening. Thanks for doing this with me, Carl. It's always a pleasure.
It always is, Scott. Thank you.
And we're so close to number 50.
Ooh.
Get close. All right. Have a good week, everyone. Have a good week, Carl.
You too. Bye, everyone.